man, these conservative pro-life, you know, these people are idiots. They're all insane. And I had that very typical. And then something happened. I've been skateboarding my whole life, and I met the skateboarder guy who was prominent in Chicago. And so I was like, whoa, like, how cool. I get to hang out with this guy. He's like way older, and he's really good at skating. And he said, hey, man, me and my friends, we're going to go jam at my place later. You want to come with? And now I'm all like, yeah, like, how cool is this? Hanging out with the cool kids, right?
Right.
And then when I get to his apartment, I walk in his room. He's got a picture of Jesus on the wall. And I was like, what do you have a picture of Jesus on the wall for? Are you like Christian or something? Think I'm all like tough punk rock? And he goes, no. And then I was like, what? No. Then why do you have Jesus on the wall? And he was like, oh, I just thought it was cool. There's a story about a guy who traveled around helping people. And that was like a smack in the face to me. And I was like, maybe I'm misunderstanding people by assuming I know what they think and feel. This guy wasn't Christian. He just says, cool story, right? Like, he's a cool guy. He was like really nice to people. This is the ethical conundrum that exists within me, because the media is the best example of capitalism going wrong, in that we're at a point now where these companies are in danger. So they reach to the bottom of the barrel, which is outrage content and ideology.
And you know what they're
lying. So, you know, I recently made this critique about Bernie Sanders. His campaign can't pay his own staff $15 an hour.
Right.
So what does he do? He cuts hours to get the equivalent. Well, here's the problem. His staff said $36K a year wasn't enough to buy food. Did Bernie say, I'll give you more money? No, he said, okay, then don't work Saturdays. So do the same work you have to do in shorter time, work harder, and we're still not going to pay you more.
And let some of you go to pay for that.
Some people are quitting. But so he's not going to increase their wages. My conundrum in all this is, for one, love the environment. I'm very much an environmentalist. Like I said, I worked for Greenpeace. You get Ocasio-Cortez on the scene, and she proposes this Green New Deal. Well, when she first did, I was like, I'm down to hear it. This sounds great. And then what does she propose? Free college, free healthcare, guaranteed jobs, income. I'm like, no. Hold on. You're killing the environmental argument here. So what I often say to a lot of my less liberal friends, you know, more conservative types, is if you've got people who don't believe climate change is man-made, and you're coming to them and saying they're stupid or wrong, you're not arguing anything.
Yes.
If you think we need a massive overhaul to save the planet, and you refuse to accept anything from conservatives, you're not making an argument.
Let me give you, I'm a demon on global warming. I'm the worst guy ever. except my farm and my ranch are 100% green.
Right.
I have insulation, over the top new insulation that makes sure that you can live in my house at 20 below zero or 100 degrees.
And the first one, I don't think there's an intention among like many people in power to say like we want to hurt America.
AOC?
Well, AOC is different though.
Yeah, okay.
Right? She's this far left socialist type who has this identity. I mean, look, that Green New Deal was talking about like racial equity. I'm like, what does that have to do with the environment?
It is none of it.
And I'm deeply offended by that. And there we are. So they're under the assumption the Green New Deal is going to be this like government investment into solar power, and I'm like, no, it was like. I mean, we had an article from the New York Times saying the governors are worried because the 2020 candidates are going so far left. Promising health care to undocumented immigrants is mind-blowing to me. So it's been years since I've gone over the data, but there was a website dedicated to nothing but police brutality on Facebook that cracked like the top 1,000 websites in the world. Because people on Facebook would see this police brutality video and click share. And that was money. Realize the stuff that's being fed on Facebook by BuzzFeed, Vox, it's very, very similar in its derangement, but it's masked. You know, adults can't see that they're being fed this nightmare reality. And now here we are with the Democrats promising health care to people who aren't citizens, which we can't afford, which makes no sense.
So where does that end?
Oh, man. Civil war, chaos. It's a handful of billionaires running unaccountable corporations with government protection. Where's the left? I mean, I grew up with liberals saying, corporation bad. And I'm like, I agree.
I grew up making fun of things like Blade Runner, going, please, I work for the corporation. Shut up. I've always been there. And for the last 10 years, I find myself with a growing number of conservatives all saying, something's really wrong here.
Yep. I was talking on the Joe Rogan podcast with Jack Dorsey, and right away I said, your rules are biased against conservatives. And the look on his face, he didn't realize it. He said, what rule? He genuinely believed his rules weren't. And I said, first of all, the misgendering policy. Like, I understand why you want to protect the trans community. They have very high suicide rates, and I can agree with, I can respect that sentiment. But you have to realize more than half this country, like substantial majority of this country, even liberals, do not agree with a lot of what's happening in this argument, like transgender women competing against biological women.
Right.
I'm like, lifelong Democrats are concerned about that. When you say you're going to ban every conservative because they hold this view, or they have to bend the knee and never express that view, you've got a rule base is basically threatening them at any moment. The sword is Damocles over your head. You can be kicked off the platform. Now what do we see? In Canada, a trans woman has filed a human rights complaint against a Brazilian waxing salon because the trans woman has male parts and is demanding the female make contact. The law, it is this professional waxer has shut down her business, and
we've just gone insane.
That to me really is crossing the line.
We are denying reality.
Yeah.
At the same time, we're denying an individual right to say, I don't want to participate in that. I don't care if you do it, but I don't want to participate.
This right here is like when it came to the baker in Colorado, whether you should make a custom cake for a gay wedding. I've always been like, it's just a cake. You don't have to, like, my opinion was, if you're accepting public infrastructure, a tax-paying citizen who helps contribute to the pipes, to the sidewalks, to your safety and fire department, then just make the cake for them, right? But I gotta admit, making a cake is simple. You might disagree with it, but waxing a male's privates is like state-enforced.
Right.
I can't. Right. So that's a principle nightmare.
I mean, art is so sacred. Well, my father was a cake decorator. I grew up in a bakery, and that was his art.
Right.
And you're going to force people their art, and you can define that in many, many ways. What I do to some degree is an art form.